king, I need a court of my own. All these rings like I'm ignoring my phone. My ancient aura is gold. Yeah, my ancient aura is gold. I've been touring and exploring the globe. It's how I hoarded this assortment of stones. My ancient aura is gold. Yeah, my ancient aura is gold. Gorgeous porcelain imported from Rome. I promise I look 20 as a 40-year-old. My ancient aura is gold. 444 horses is the force that I hold. In this 44 Porsche that I rode. Yeah, I extort it when the order is sold. Out of bounds for the border patrol. I be twisting up a joint like contortionist bone. It's really all I need to record in my zone. Practicing the darkest sorcery known. Tapping in when I be authoring poems. Bird magic mixed in with the Jordan Malone. This bag of skin, I'm in supportable home. Medallion dripping, I adorned it in gold. Got the cash to get it, you should order your own. You can't afford it at the store, get a loan. As soon as I wear it, the value's worth more than it's sold. Matching a burgundy velour in a robe. Gamble with life and I owed her, but I brought my cologne. I was born on the throne. I'm a king, I need a court of my own. All these rings like I'm ignoring my phone. My ancient aura is gold. Yeah, my ancient aura is gold. I've been touring and exploring the globe. It's how I hoarded this assortment of stones. My ancient aura is gold. Yeah, my ancient aura is gold. Gorgeous porcelain imported from Rome. I promise I look 20 as a 40-year-old. My ancient aura is
Black dream and the American dream, if you will, right? So spirituality is lack of empathy. Business is lack of empathy. But being a spiritual people, the reason we want to cultivate our dreams in sports and entertainment because it allows us to express ourselves, express our spirituality in a sense. But it leaves us void of the business aspect and what it actually means to gain power. So I always tell people, for one, you have to learn how to not just have your dream, but how do you work it out to bring it about. So not only do we talk about that essence of consciousness, the immaterial, but we also teach you the steps to gain the material power. Because oftentimes you can have all these spiritual rituals, but with no material balance. Today is October 7th. It's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's birthday, and that's why I wear my crown. Savior's Day. And he had a quote where he was talking about how he was a farmer in Georgia. And when he was plowing those mules, nobody thought that he'd be a scientist to run the world or to teach the world. But he said, see, with everything, time comes. And we can teach our people who may not know, but we have to be able to communicate between the people in this world and not be affected by our differences of ideologies, philosophies, politics, states, whatever it may be, because everybody has their own agenda in their mind. Sometimes it only goes so far as the vision. You can want to bring people together, but they just looking at what they gonna get out of it, and they're short-sighted. And our people have a mental myopia to where they can't have a vision because they have to take care of their immediate surroundings and environment and their survival. And I know what it's about. I'm not sure what the population is out here. I'm looking up the black population, but they didn't have it. How much? 2.5. And when we come out here, the love out here and the energy out here is different than America. The complexity of our problems exists much differently. I believe that it's like I can come out here and say, man, like Keys, and y'all understand that that's a blanket language across the country. We don't have that in America because we have the divided states. Our language is broken down into states, city, hood, all kinds of different stuff. So you can't just say, well, oh, he was in America, he got that language. But when we speak to the people, and we had an event yesterday, when we talk about balancing the masculine energies and the feminine energies and what it means to be toxic masculinity and toxic femininity and building on politics, everybody in the room understood it. Because from what I've seen, at least from the people in the pockets of consciousness that I've tapped into, the minds are less divided as far as what the solutions are. But what I hear a lot is everybody keeps saying, well, Keys, everybody that I tap into you, but nobody in my immediate surrounding is conscious. But I'm like, if all y'all telling me that, then y'all the people that need to connect. You build the community, and then everybody else come because they see you're not crazy. So it's like, for us, we all have our different pockets around the world, but where's the establishment of communication and shared resources, right? And shared technology and to build a plan and create an agenda, and however you work towards getting that agenda done, however you shoot your mission, we all working towards the same thing. That's how they continue to run the world, because the agenda ultimately is to run the world. And it's often done in small rooms with people making decisions, creating an agenda and saying, this is how we're going to work it, but this is how I'm going to do my part.
Right. I'll give you the floor and then I'll come to you. And then to the Queen.
So a brief breakdown of the political situation in America right now, from our perspective, the black side in 2019, is that there's been a humongous exposure of the hypocrisy of black politicians, mainly anchored on the reparations debate. They've been exposed by influencers and social media to be what our people would consider to be coons. You know, they're turning on all of the presidential candidates of quote unquote color, primarily because they have been exposed to have no quote unquote black agenda whatsoever. They use very colorful language like all inclusiveness, and you know, they're caping for other demographics just under this blanket of colored people or diversity and stuff. And we know
Buzzwords, yeah.
these are buzzwords, and we know those buzzwords do not mean a direct power source to the people who need it most. Now, as a result of that, there's a fracture that's taking place within the black community, okay? And the reparations movement is very strong, it's very influential, it's clandestine, and it's also overt. What we are proposing and what we're saying, the urgency of the now, because we're on the heels of 2020, and our people have given up on a political agenda because there is none. And it was packaged in the presidential candidates, and I think that they purposely gave us weak candidates just to basically, you know, to usher us into a new era. Yes, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, just how's the political system set up over there? Is it
Two parties.
Two parties, yes.
Democratic, Republican, Trump, Republican.
Okay.
Nothing is happening on that side, right?
Can I ask another question? Do you think that the representation of the black political people we've got over there is stifled by the parties? Because that to me would probably be the problem. They're only letting people that aren't going to pose a problem to their agenda.
Say it again?
They'll only let people into the parties who aren't going to pose a problem to their overall agenda. So ultimately, they're only letting in the people that they can control.
Not necessarily.
No? Okay.
You know, AOC, the ladies, the sister from Minnesota who's a Muslim from Somalia, they are disruptors in the party. Both parties are corrupt. Both parties are hustlers. Both parties do not necessarily represent wholeheartedly what this room represents. And both parties have been exposed because of the rise of consciousness in the quote-unquote black communities. Though the thought leaders are the new politicians of the streets, of the ground, right? Not everybody who's melanated, but the ones who are considered to be the intelligentsia in our community, who have waken up to what's really going on. They don't follow any politics. They're not into the politicians. They're more so into master teachers such as Infudishi, the shifters and things like that. Tariq Nasheed, his influence is very huge. So there's a humongous movement. Now, the great part about this whole place that we find ourselves is that I commend you for coming forward and developing your own political party outside of the quote-unquote throes of this controlled opposition. And, you know, we have the ability at this point to form a global party, a global movement. The conversation has been on the table for a very long time, right? If we don't embrace that concept, there's going to be, there's going to be a fracture that's going to happen in America. And from where my standpoint is, the way that I'm seeing it, based off of the conversations that I've been having with the blokes out here, they're heavily influenced by what the states do, especially from a melanated point of view. And the Caribbean is influenced, and then the continent is influenced. So if that schism, that great schism takes place, if it's allowed to take place, where the Americans who, say, yo, I ain't rocking with no Africans, and I'm not rocking with the Caribbean, and I'm not rocking with we're drawing a line, and we're circling, we're building a circle around us, and we're moving because the mentality of scarcity has seeped in to our community based off of the environment. It's a toxic environment because of the Trump policies and the Trump era, and the fact that there's no identifiable opposition to that, right? And now we have the white supremacists, and now we have Europeans who are on code. So what on code means is that they're dog whistles that are being blown, but they'll come in here and smile with us. They'll hug us. These are the liberals. These are the Democrats. They'll hug us. Oh, they'll roll out red carpets for you. But the code is that there's a whistle being blown around the world, because the right-wing movement out here, the right-wing movement in Africa, the right-wing movement,
South
Brazil, all of these whistles, they heard all of those trumpets that were blown, and they are on code, and they are meeting up in these parliaments. They're coming together like we're coming together, global representatives, and they're putting their agenda. The agenda's already been on the table. Yeah. Climate change is population control. So the agenda is on the table. They're utilizing their media. They're not even worrying about social media right now. They're worrying about it, so they're censoring it because the thought leaders already have gained too much power. So now they're stripping channels, knocking people down, but they're going through Hollywood, they're going through their mainstream media, and they're also going through other medias of manipulation, and they're on code. They're ready, right? They're ready to claim the next 100 years, either from the Asians or from this small contingency of black people waking up, because the authorities bypassed China, bypassed the Arabs, bypassed everybody, and put black identity extremists at the top of the very list of the threats to national security within the borders. Because once your subjects begin to wake up, they're not just waking up, they're challenging them. They're going into their courthouses with paperwork. They're defying them. That's why you saw police brutality or terrorism trump up through the media. That's all a psyops. So what I'm saying is the urgency exists right now. We have royalty amongst us. This, like Garvey was not sitting with royalty. Malcolm X was not sitting with crown kings and queens. This is a different day and age. The people that I represent, they're ready to make something happen, but they need a body politic, people who can be trusted, people who have accolades, people who have global influence. It's not a local thing anymore. This is a global thing. And the bodies of people around the globe suffering, they don't have nothing but somebody on the wall or some other empty promise. And that's not enough at this point. We're going into 2020.
Today.
Greetings, my name is Erica and welcome to Pempamsy Lucian. Here at Pempamsy, we offer a wide range of natural hair and skin products like castor oil to help moisturize and strengthen your hair, things like Cantu and Shea Moisture, natural toothpaste without fluoride, natural deodorants, and many more. We also have various supplements and herbs to help you with cleansing your system. We also have natural body butters, including shea butter and cocoa butter, and natural soaps like black soap.
What's really good about the staff here is that they, can talk about your skin, your textures and your tones in your skin and what's really good for your T-zones and everything like that. The community obviously was missing this, do you know what I mean? And so it's really, really good to have this in the community and so local. Yeah, I'm just really, really happy with it.
Hello, I'm Charlene. Since I've been working in the store, I've had a lot of feedback from customers speaking specifically about the fact that they enjoy being able to come to a black-owned business in the Lewisham community. People are happy to be able to purchase their herbs here, like the sea moss and other herbs, as you can see.
Hi, my name is Basil Links, and I'd just like to let you all know that Pempamsy have opened a new branch in the southeast of London in Lewisham. It's at Lehigh Road, and it's here to service all of the people that have historically had to travel all the way to Brixton to get their natural health and hair care products. We're open 7 days a week. I'm really excited about this development because we're going to be meeting people that have never met us, but it gives us an opportunity to add more value to the local Lewisham community. There's a fantastic team here with years of experience, and we're also opening a consultation room, which means that we'll be able to really help you and drill down into any of your health issues. So please look us up, check us out, and we look forward to serving the Lewisham and the broader community.
Resources, we need power, we need commitment, and we need manpower because we need labor forces to start building and doing things. Yes.
Sorry, I was going to give the sister, but I agree with what you're saying. I mean, next time I'll just book the room for the day.
So the veggie bath a veggie bath, which is a new word for the weekend for me. In 2018, right, as I entered the educational system stronger, $4.2 million in New York City alone was left on the table in money that was allocated towards organization when it comes to education. Rather, it was anti-bullying, self-love programs, or even agriculture.
Facts.
In the African community, or black community, whatever you want to call it, around the US especially, I always hear there is no money, they need the resources, they need money to make things happen, we need money. But the money was there and it was left on the table because we're not unified properly to come together to say we have this program. And part of the people who applied for the budgets and didn't get it was because they weren't properly set up, rather it was a 501c3 or having the proper organization. So I feel like a major issue, or I even heard in the Afrocentric hotel or whatever communities you want to call that, people would say, I don't want their money to do anything. I'm gonna raise the money on my own. It may take me longer. I don't need their money.
Yeah.
This mentality of it being their money needs to, in my opinion, stop. It's your money.
And that attitude as well against money is also people don't want to step into the hands of Babylon. Welcome. Do you know what I mean? As you said,
So with that said,
But
my point is like, there's so much, it's like, there's all of this, right? But if you go to the corner store and you had a $5 bill in your hand or a pound in your hand, it's their money that you just utilize.
mm-hmm.
So if you want to do something and create a change, it's their money in essence you're going to use. So if they had 4.2 million just in New York City, I don't know about the other states how much they had, but 4.2 million that was unused funds, rather it was for agriculture. We all believe in the black community that the school system should be teaching agriculture, should be teaching financial literacy, which my program does now. With as many schools as we went into, I'm one program. Then I group with other programs, and then I always hear like, oh, like the money is an issue. I'm like, well, there's this grant, there's that grant. There are grants for even having curly hair.
Of course.
That people didn't know about, so they did not apply for them, or didn't have the proper structure, and didn't get approved for them, right? Or even knew the words or terminologies. So rather it's getting a grant writer on your team, so you can start getting the money. When you guys are forming a team, that is something that is important, to have someone who speaks their languages.
I'm gonna let you have the right and fine, and I want the gentleman to speak.
And the high priest.
And then the priest.
But, so that's basically it.
Is to bring people who would necessarily not be in the same building together to come together because they're being magnetized to come out to see these influencers. But when we leave, right, the object is for those people who came out to come and see us to stay together and to do something, because we're coming back and we want y'all to build. We want y'all to benefit off of the fact that y'all all know each other now. And because the common thread is us, or the common thread is the person that you came to see. So they have, you know, I always say at some of the lectures, I turn the microphone around and pass it around and say, forget me, the solutions are in the audience. Everybody state their superpower. What is your skill set? What is your talent and gift? And you'll be surprised just by the time it gets to the 10th person, everybody in there is either, they're all functioning off of STEM, science, technology, engineering, or mathematics and whatnot. So I'm saying that we are the solution. There's a lack of communication. There's this hierarchy. We're still going through hierarchical structures. You know, people are not sharing information. They're not sharing resources. They're not, you know, there's a trust issue. There's all of these things that we need to begin to iron out. But I feel that where we are now, we could share information and we could benefit off of it at a it doesn't have to be slow pace. So what you said, I'm saying that that's very important, that there's grant money. Grant writers are essential. You know, even people who know how to work that contractor thing. You have to have each one of these people on your team.
And one more thing, that's one word.
Yeah, go ahead.
Literally, another thing is, even in 2021, knowing something like all toilet tissues and toiletries in colleges and HBCUs, the contracts are going to be up. So that means, and because due to diversity and inclusion, for instance, they have to give people of color a chance to bid for it first before Coca-Cola and other major monopolies can
2
go
years
in,
ahead.
right? And then another thing is in 2020, when you look at these things, real estate, Trump said until December 2019, if you invested in certain locations, there was 0% on taxes that you would have to pay, right? So in real estate as well, and women, because of diversity and inclusion, in New York alone, if you have a $10 million building that's up for grabs, they were allowing women who were black or people who are African descent to put as little as only buy the building for $1 to $2 million, as long as you took certain courses and classes.
Wow.
Right? So these acknowledge that what are the courses and classes that are gonna qualify us to be in certain rooms as well.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just very conscious of the time, and trust me.
Thank you.
If I could give you 10 more hours, I would. I'm going to go, if you don't mind, to the King.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the priest to say the closing prayer, and then the Queen.
Or the other.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon.
And then
yeah. So you speak, and then the King, and then the priest, if you don't mind. That order, is that okay?
Brothers and sisters, I'm Noel, aka Nana Sorry, I saluted first. And this whole weekend has just been a beautiful experience, building and growing with my fellow brothers and sisters, my family. But we have to get serious. I said it last night. We understand the dynamics of the problems that we have, but we have to learn how to control our egos. We have to learn how to control ourselves as individuals and extend that to our greater families and communities. And I tell Nana y'all all the time that, you know, we're king of Donna, right? But I said, I don't care what the government says. I said, I don't care what they want to do. If we need roads built, we need to do it ourselves. If we need the people to be touched, we have to do it ourselves. That means we have to take our own money, our time, our transportation. He'll tell you how much money we spent in the last year and what we've accomplished in the last year and what him and Mfudishi have accomplished in the last 2 to 3 years. So, and this is on our own, right? If we had grant writers, if we had people that were more interested, people that had integrity and had the same value system as we do, we'd be able to move at a faster pace. So I think those of us that are in the United States and other parts of the Western world like England and Europe, We have to understand that we have to use the system that already exists, that has oppressed and is oppressing us. We have to use the same system. But we also have to create our own system or go back to systems that we already have and use the synergy in both. And I'm really challenged by what you said about the Real ID Act because the reality is, you know, my dad taught me, and God rest his soul, Dr. Jack Felder, call his name in Parliament, we here for him. Like, you know, like, he always taught me, like, yo, get that degree, get your hundreds. Christopher Columbus didn't discover America, but when you come on the test, that's what you write. My father was a teacher for 40 years. He said, write it, get your degrees, get your money, do what you gotta do in your life. Take care of you and your family. That's what he taught me. So he said, he was teaching me use both systems, because that's how he lived his life. He made his money on his own, and he didn't report taxes, but he had a system job that was paying him over 6 figures when he retired, right? So he taught me to be in the system without the system, and I think we have to become more savvy at doing those things. We have to get, I said it last night, we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Being in spaces where we know people don't like us, right? Charlie, how long did you work on Wall Street?
13 and a half.
13
well,
and a half years.
9 years for Wall Street.
Right, 9 years for Wall Street. You were uncomfortable probably almost all the time. You're probably only black woman in the room most of the time.
50, 70%
of the time, right? So if she didn't take that expertise that she got in those conference rooms, right? And I know Wall Street is crazy. I know a lot of people who live on Wall Street, and their lives are crazy. So she's here bringing that knowledge back to us so that we can benefit from it, so that we can move forward. So those of us who gotta be in that system. Some of y'all, twins probably, y'all don't even know. Like I consult the DC 37, the largest union in New York City. I work with them, I volunteer for them. Your dad worked for years, right? So it's like, we on the grassroots, we on the low level, talking to members every day about voting, about the Real ID, about census, so on and so forth, because I see a value in people understanding the environment we're in. In our schools, they don't teach civics. Why don't they teach civics in our school? So that you don't understand how to manipulate the system that you're in, right? People hate Trump. I love Trump. Why do I love Trump? Because he's putting the fire on your ass to wake up and do what you got to do. But he says things, y'all said today, you and Trump are the same because we're from the same hood. He's from Queens, I'm from Queens. We operate the same way. I would say for the forces of good, he's for the forces of evil, right? But he says things like, taxes, I follow the law. So we have to understand the laws that are before us. We have to understand the time that we're in and the synergy that exists. Do you realize everybody that's here, what we can do as a collective, if we sat down and said, none of y'all, who family has access to thousands of acres in Ghana. Thousands of acres, pristine, untouched, right? We have to think globally. What do we say? Oh, maybe we can build a tech institute. Instead of thinking of building in the States or Europe, maybe we build a tech institute in Ghana because we have access to the land. His family is royal. They'll give us the land to build it. We might not necessarily own it as individuals, but we can own it as a collective and it'll uplift the community. But then we can send, your son did, my daughter did. A little lion here. We can send them there in the future, right? Our vision has to be beyond our lifetime. Our vision has to be beyond 100 years, right? Our ancestors. Elder Infodici took us to the museum yesterday. What did he show us? He said 36,000 years the king lived, plus the other 6,000 years. That's 42,000 years of your history in just one sense. So you have people that were thinking in processional terms, 26,000 year cycles. That's where you come from. So how now we can't even balance our checkbook? We can't get our credit straight. We can't come together like for some simple thing. Look what Andrew did, almost, I wouldn't say single-handedly, but it's his idea. Thousands of people showed up the last 2 years to this event, and it's amazing. Somebody said it, don't tell me one person can't change the world. Blue said it.
Okay.
And with that,
Thank you. Sorry, I'm just really conscious of the time. I don't want to go to come here.
Great.
You don't mind please.
My name is Nanaya, and I'm from Akwem, Gwemfie, and I'm living half of my life in the United States. And I'm so happy. And this is very historic, and I call it my ancestors brought me here to study and to bring my brothers and my sisters here back home. because we all know, we all saying the same thing, but and the most important thing is we all know the solution. But now we got to go to work, because it looks like we're talking too much. Because I met him for this about, let's say 12 to 15 years ago. I talked to him, because most of the time I'm in America not to show off, but I'm there for a purpose, and I thank my ancestors that I know the reason why I'm there. I met him for this, we talked, and then I told him who I am and what we have. Less than 1 year, he called me back, say, yeah, I think of what you shared. So, I'm ready, let's go to Ghana. I said, good. So he got a ticket, we went to Ghana. And when we got to Ghana, he saw what is there. I was not bragging, I was not saying I was not telling him a lie. But what I told him is what we have. We went to my family, he saw my dad, my mother, he saw my aunties, we went to the village, he saw them. So we did what we have to do. I said land. He got the land. We have a land that, I told him we have a land that he cannot buy, we can still work with. But I want him to own a piece of property in Africa as an African. So because I tell all my brothers here, I don't go to Africa as a tourist. Let the other people go as tourists, but you go as you are going home. You are going home, back to your home, back to your people. So if you have that energy, the ancestors will receive you and welcome and open up to you. So you meet the right people and do the right thing. And nobody will take you for granted, because you are moving beyond the people. You are moving with a greater force. So he has whatever, he has his land, he has his portion. I met Nova, I was talking to Nova, was my brother before I even met him, Fudishi. But he's my brother and Fudishi is elder. But Nova, along the line, I started with the elder and the spiritual leader, he saw it. So he came, he joined the fire. I told him the same thing. Less than 1 year, he also I told him the land is there, we can work, but I want you to own a piece too. So he also, I explained it to him, he owned a piece, and now we're on project. Me and Fudishi, we have over 12 acres of land that we are working on. We're getting a school from pre-K to the PH level. Because why? I got 2 girls here in New York that go to school. I don't want my kids to grow like I grow up. I want my kids to grow to know and be proud of where they come from. They can move around the world being proud.
I went home, I changed my lifestyle. At that time it was called vegetarian. I became vegetarian, now vegan. And I've been on the journey ever since, and it's been healing me every day. My gosh,
so it helps you redefine your environment. They lost, not yours. Time to do spring cleaning. For all my daughters, never asked for payment in the womb ×9. Now we see the blood on the street ×try. Feminine energy, balance up the indestructible in the vaginal. Heaven in thine, heaven is mine. Spiritual, lyrical, mother sang sweetest taboo, rickle kind. If I was astonished by the level of shame, feminine energy reign. Intuition and ambition, intuition shine. Intuition and ambition running through my veins. Pour out the love, let the healing begin. The birds and the bees ain't got nothing.
It's a 40-year-old. My ancient aura is cold. The scrolls unfolding, words made of gold foretold of the hidden messiahs. Shit, it was written in fire that we sitting much higher. Sitting on some Michelin tires, dripping in Egyptian attire. Dapper Dan stitching them wires, Salomon hitting Delilah. Bitches kissing on these pictures on flyers. These witches for hire, these kitchens on fire. We paid in full, yeah, pitching the buyers. We chasing down Mitch's desires. Them snitches on wires, they hitting up the picture Mariah. As far as them stars stretch, that's further than far-fetched. And as for my car test, I'm taking Elliot Wilson on a star quest. I was born on a throne, I'm a king, I need need a court of my own. All these rings like I'm ignoring my phone. My ancient aura is gold.